My name is Polly Lowe. I'm the Director of Admissions for the Department of Classics and Ancient History. The aim of this video is to give you a bit more information about applying to our programmes, and in particular to talk about what we're looking for in applications and how we go about assessing applications. So we get about 600 applications a year for all of our programmes, for our 3 single honours degrees and the 2 joint honours degrees. We have about 100 places a year, again, on all of our programmes. It's perhaps worth me emphasising that although we have a target or a quota for our admissions as a whole, we don't have any quotas for our specific programmes. So we would normally take about 50 students for BA Classics and about 15 to 20 each on the BA Ancient History and the BA Classical Civilization, and the remainder on our joint honours. But that reflects more or less the balance of the applications that we receive, and we don't have any cap on the maximum number of classics people we could take or the maximum number of ancient historians. The reason I want to emphasise that is please don't apply for a programme because you think it might be easier or harder to get into it because it has more or fewer places. Apply for the programme that makes sense for you, that fits your interest. And there's another video that you can watch if you haven't already about the difference between our programmes. We don't have targets or quotas for the individual programmes, just for the department as a whole. We'll read all applications in full, so we will look at your results, but we will also look at your personal statement. And a consequence of that is that we are, compared to many other universities, pretty slow in making our decisions. So if you apply to us, you can apply from September, but we don't really start making offers until November at the earliest, and many people don't hear until after Christmas. So November to February, and some people not until mid-March. And part of that is because we are being very careful. We are reading everything on your UCAS form. Another part of that is because we take seriously the UCAS deadline for equal consideration, which is normally on the 15th of January. And so we can't make all of our offers too early in the cycle because we want you to have the same chance of getting an offer if you apply on the 15th of January as you would do if you applied in early September. So there's no rush to get your application into us. Apply when you want to, as long as it's before the 15th of January. In past years, we've closed our applications at that point. So don't leave it too late, but don't feel you have to rush. And don't worry if you don't hear back from us immediately. You'll probably hear within 24 hours from some places you apply to. You won't from us. It's not that we don't want you, it's that we're taking our time and thinking carefully and trying to be fair to all applicants. What are we looking for while we're reading your UCAS form so carefully? So we do, of course, look at your exam results. We look at your GCSE or equivalent results, and we look at your A-level or equivalent predictions if you're applying for the A-level. And we want to see clear evidence of academic excellence or potential. So that means that we don't necessarily want to see top grades across the board if there is other stuff in your application which shows us that you've got that potential for academic excellence. Part of how we assess that is that we also look at your personal statements. We want to see evidence that you know what it is you're letting yourself in for. Something that shows us that you have thought about what studying classics or classical civilization or ancient history would involve, and can explain to us why you are interested in doing that subject. So that might be stuff that you've done at school, it might be stuff you've done outside school, something that sparked your interest. Tell us why you want to study this subject, what you want to get out of it. For the BA Ancient Medieval and Modern History, there's a requirement that you're doing an A-level in history, but that's the only one of our programmes that has a required A-level. So don't worry if you're not studying a classical subject at school. That's fine. Again, as long as in your personal statement you can show us that you have this interest in the ancient world, that's what we want to see. If you're doing sensible A-levels and are going to do well in them, then that's all we really want to see. And we consider all A-levels sensible A-levels, I should say. If you're applying for BA Classics, we would want to see some evidence of language aptitude, because this is obviously a language-heavy programme, so it's not sensible from anyone's perspective for you to be doing that if we can't be sure that you are going to be able to learn a language, but that doesn't have to be Latin or Greek. So it might be that you've done a GCSE in a modern language, for example. You might have had the chance to study Latin or Greek, not for a qualification, but in a Latin club, something like that. That's great. So make sure that you mention it in your UCAS form if you've done something like that. If you've done Latin to GCSE or A-level, or Greek to GCSE or A-level, obviously that's great as well. And if you look at the video on language learning, you'll see how we fit all levels of experience into our programs. Our offers, we have a standard offer, and that's 3 A's at A-level and other variant forms depending on if other qualifications that you might have taken. And we adapt that, of course, if you've taken a combination of different sorts of qualifications. If you're doing something that isn't on this slide, there's more information on our website, which covers some other qualifications, but also, of course, do get in touch with us and we can discuss how your qualifications might map onto our standard offer. As I've already said, we don't specify any subjects apart from for the ancient, medieval and modern history, which requires history A-level. That also has a slightly higher offer, A-star AA. Ancient history and archaeology has a slightly lower offer, AAB. We do make offers which are lower than our standard offer, and this comes back to something that I said earlier on about the way we assess applications, that we look for evidence of excellence, but also evidence of academic potential. So among the things we look at in your UCAS form is educational context. If you're at a school which doesn't have a strong tradition of sending people to higher education, if there's something that's affected your studies at school, whatever that might be, if we see that in your application, and but we can also see evidence that you've got academic potential, we may well make a lower offer because we want you to be able to come to university, and we're confident that you'll be able to make excellent use of your time at university. Again, if you're not quite sure whether that might be applicable to you, do get in touch with us and we can have a discussion about that. We don't make unconditional offers normally unless you have already effectively met the conditions of what the offer would be. So if you're applying post-A level or equivalent, the offer would be unconditional, but otherwise don't expect an unconditional offer from us. And we don't usually make offers which are higher than our standard offer. So hopefully that answers some of your questions. Something again, just to reiterate, because we assess applications individually and carefully, we do take quite a long time to get back to you, so don't be offended if you don't hear from us immediately. You will hear from us in the end. If you want to find out more, have a look at our website, particularly the admissions website has lots of useful information about applications and the application process. Come to one of the Q&A sessions and we can discuss things further. Thanks very much for watching.